Are you fucking serious, man? I mean, are you for real on this? I mean, I understand the Muslim response squad, but the Muslim rational response squad. Do you guys just not know what certain words mean? I mean, you call yourselves the religion of peace. George Orwell, eat your fucking heart out. When you put fatwas on the authors of books that you don't like, and you burn down buildings because of fucking cartoons, yet you're the religion of peace. Now, even though you believe in a book for which there is no proof whatsoever, you're going to call yourselves rational. Wow! It just doesn't get any fucking better than that. You guys, you just love ruining, you just love taking words. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I would think you're being intentionally ironic. But you're probably just being unintentionally moronic, as usual. You first said there are no flaws in the Qur'an, and that was one of your points. I will give you this. There are far, and I mean vastly, less flaws in the Qur'an than there are in the Bible. If you go to Skeptic's Annotated Qur'an and Skeptic's Annotated Bible and compare the number of contradictions that they have in the Bible and the number of contradictions that they have in the Qur'an, you see a pretty significant fucking difference. The Bible has a lot more contradictions, but it was written by many authors, whereas the Qur'an was written by one author. So that's easy enough. That's easily explained, okay? That's why it's more uniform as a holy text in general, because it had one author. It still has contradictions. It has a handful. But what's really amazing about the Qur'an isn't the contradictions or its flaws. You could even argue that it has no flaws. You could do a little tap dancing around the flaws that it does have and end up with a book that has no contradictions. It's a big fucking stretch, but you can do it. I mean, if the Christians can do it with their hundreds of contradictions, then you guys can do it with your 20 or 30 or whatever you have, and pretty easily. But what's really amazing about the Qur'an is just the sheer violence of the book. It is the most violent work in all of literature, and you say it will never, that no one will ever be able to produce something like the Qur'an. And that's not true, because have you ever seen the movie Pulp Fiction? I think Pulp Fiction is actually quite like the Qur'an. You should check that out sometime. It's very much, it's almost as violent as the Qur'an, almost as profane as the Qur'an. Hell of a lot better written than the Qur'an. But, you know, we can't all, I mean, I've never read the original Qur'an. Maybe the translations just suck. Because it seems to me like you must not have read any other books in your life to think that you can't possibly reproduce the Qur'an, because it's not that well written. The stories aren't that good. The philosophy is pretty fucking basic. It's really not that fucking great. I hate to tell you. I mean, I know it's your religion and you believe it and whatever, but it's not that great. I mean, I wouldn't wipe my ass with it. I mean, I got a few chuckles reading it. But it's you know, it's really nothing. It's minor literature. The Bible is actually a lot more entertaining than the Qur'an. In terms of mythology, the Qur'an is... Muhammad was definitely lacking in imagination. Can you say the last name of Muhammad slowly? Because understand that my Caucasian ears hear Muhammad... I can understand Muhammad fine, but then after that it's like Muhammad... I'll just call, until you can help me out with that, I'm just going to call him Muhammad Ramalama Ding Dong, because I think that that's pretty close. You said Muhammad, this is my favorite part of your argument, you said Muhammad is not a pedophile because he fucked his wife Aisha at 9 years old and not 6. Yeah, that makes about as much sense as saying O.J. Simpson is not a murderer because he shot his wife instead of stabbing her, as everyone believed. It's really not much of a fucking difference. I don't know many 9-year-old girls that are fully developed past puberty. I mean, I get it happens sometimes. I looked it up, but it's very fucking rare. And I don't know any 9-year-old girls who are psychologically capable of handling that kind of relationship. Not that it really matters one way or the other, because you're right, it was a different fucking time. And I don't fucking object to someone doing something that is not immoral within their own time. Morality is fluid. The thing is, though, he was supposed to be a prophet of God, of Allah! It's not as if I condemn him for it, but if he is indeed a holy man, he should have morality far advanced to those around him, and if he is indeed in touch with angels, he should be in possession of amazing knowledge that no other human being could possibly conceive of. And he should also show advanced scientific knowledge beyond what anyone at that time would have been able to possess. And if you look at the Qur'an, you don't see any evidence of that. There's no, there's no reference to anything that is beyond the realm of what people knew at that time. And I've heard Muslims make arguments to the contrary. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I remember that I tore all of them apart when I came across them before. So feel free if you want to bring one of those up, and I will gladly shred it for you and return it to you in pieces. And the fourth thing you said that was interesting to me was that you've assembled a crack team of Muslim scholars. Let me tell you something. Being well-versed in the Quran is not fucking impressive to me, buddy. You know, it's no more impressive to me than if you told me that you were bringing a Dark Tower scholar. You know, someone who had read the Dark Tower books by Stephen King 60 or 70 times and drawn all kind and, you know, picked apart every little minute detail and derived some sort of morality and ideology from it. That's about as impressive to me as saying you're a scholar of the Quran. If you're a scholar of the Quran, that's just a nice way of saying you're not a fucking scholar. I mean, if if your primary intellectual pursuit is, I'm going to study this 1,000-year-old book and try to figure some shit out, and I don't know why I'm doing a redneck voice for Muslims. I can't do a Middle Eastern voice. So I guess I'm just defaulting to a redneck voice. But anyway, it's not impressive to me. It's not impressive to anyone outside of your religion that you know so much about this fucking book. Just like it's not impressive to you that Christians know so much about the Bible. You know, here's the fucking funny thing. You say that the atheists are so lame, I guess, for attacking the Bible, and because it's so easy to pick apart the Bible. And yet, you have this great fucking skepticism about Christianity, and yet you can't apply that very same fucking reasoning that leads you to believe that Christianity is bullshit to your own religion. And if you did, you would become an atheist just like me. You're already an atheist in regards to the Christian God, just like you're an atheist in regards to every other fucking God out there. I know this is a commonly made argument, but it struck me. As you were talking about how easy it was to tear apart the Bible, it's just as easy to tear apart the Quran. Maybe not just as easy because it was written by one author, but not much harder. It's not a fucking difficult task. It's not daunting at all. And from a moral perspective, the book is certainly completely immoral, and that's reflected in the fact that every Islamic-run country on this planet is a fascist state. And that's all I have to say to you, buddy. And if you guys want to take on the Rational Response Squad, I just want to let you know I'm not a member of the Rational Response Squad. But if you want to take me on, I'm more than fucking happy. I'm willing to listen to you. I've got a bunch of subscribers, so you can take me on. It's cool, and I'm probably giving you a lot of attention right now just by doing this video response. So as far as I can tell, you owe me a debt of gratitude. And here's what I want you to do to pay off that debt. I want you to make me a point-by-point video where you clearly label the points, you make your little arguments. I want you to give me, let's say, 5 arguments for Islam and 5 arguments against atheism, and I will respond to them. That's what I want you to do. Not maybe not you. You can choose any Muslim you want to do it. Get one of your quote-unquote scholars to do it if you want. But just do it. I'm in the mood to take on Islam, and I haven't gotten the chance because it seems like for all the hype about these Islamic people being so violent and so hateful towards anyone who opposes their religion, I haven't really encountered much resistance from Islam yet. So I'd like to encounter that resistance. I guess maybe you guys don't like to debate. Maybe you just like to firebomb. I don't know. Prove me wrong, why don't you? Come on, take me on. I'm here, I'm ready, I'm willing, and I'm able. Thank you very much, sir. Peace out.